you doing today?
Good. How are you, Kenny?
I'm good.
Good.
So, hey, you know what? We had a good conversation this morning. We were talking about some good stuff. But I want you to reiterate some of the things you were saying, because I think a lot of people, are on this fitness journey, but, the journey is different for everybody.
Yeah.
And I love your story. I love your journey. So, I just want you to reiterate some of those things that we were talking about.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Tell me something.
Well, it's so interesting that we call it a fitness journey.
Yeah.
And I think for a long time, I would kind of categorize it in my head as a weight loss attempt. Maybe not so much a journey, but 12, almost 13 years ago, I had my third and fourth kids, twins.
Okay.
And it really just did a number on my body. Right. And I'd been an athlete before that. I'd always maintained my physical self pretty well. Right. But some emotional stuff entered my life. There was a lot of stress. I started a new career and things just kind of piled on top.
Right.
And I think I started to tell you that I would find a new program, okay, I'm going to eat these packaged meals, or I'm going to follow this nutrition program perfectly. And I'd have a 3-month cycle where the first month I'd lose a significant amount of weight.
Right.
And I would be working toward these goals, I just want to be this size, or I just want to weigh this much. And it was almost as if I was telling myself, if I could hit this size of clothing or get to this certain weight, then I'd finally be good enough again.
Right.
I would finally be worthy of feeling good about myself,
Exactly.
but I have to hit that before I can have that self-worth again.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that worth unless I'm this.
Right.
And I think especially as women, and maybe men do this too, we'll look at a sister or a neighbor or a really good friend, but we kind of have these women in our life that we think have everything that we want.
Right.
We'll say she has everything that I want. If I could look like her and have her life, then I'd be happy. Then and it's just not true. That maybe she's just really good at covering up the stuff that's really hard in her life.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going through hard things and dealing with stuff,
right?
I
know, everybody. And, I always talk about that, we're all dealing with our stuff.
Yeah.
We all have our stuff. Some of us have, insecurities, and some of us have, just stuff
different
going on.
things.
But we always look to the outside when we should look within.
Absolutely.
We're always looking on the outside. We should look within, and this is where it's at.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
My journey took me to a place where a lot of my transformation came out of pain and hardship, and I think a lot of people can resonate with that. That when you go through something difficult, sometimes you kind of get to that rock bottom place.
Right.
And you've just had enough, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. You kind of surrender. And for me, it was I got to this place where I was just totally honest and total truth. Things that I had kept inside that I didn't say because I didn't want to hurt other people, or I didn't want to upset people or not meet expectations. I was just so used to some of my worth coming from making other people happy at my own expense. And I got to this point where the truth mattered more, and me being me, who I authentically am, mattered more than meeting everyone else's expectations.
Exactly.
And that's kind of how I got to this point of true self-love, right? It was before I lost a significant amount of weight. Because the people listening may not know, I lost over 60 pounds and completely transformed.
I remember,
my body. From when I first came in here, I was, I was about 60 pounds heavier when I first started coming to your gym.
Well, you told me about, you did the online boot camp and all that stuff and everything. And I've seen you change. I've seen your body change.
I know. Sometimes you show me pictures from 6 months ago, and I'm like, wow, I have my body keeps transforming and changing. And so the main shift that happened was I got to this low spot where I finally just told the truth about everything that Erin had been feeling inside that I had not been willing to admit before. So now I do this thing where every day I look in the mirror. What are you lying about? What are you lying to yourself about? Be honest with yourself about what's really in here. And through that process, I just decided to start loving myself and taking care of myself. I was telling you this morning, one of the things that I did when I was honest with myself about the fact that I didn't really love myself. You know, I was 41 years old and I was having to take a hard look in the mirror and admit, you act like you love yourself. All these people around you think you have this great self-confidence because you carry yourself that way.
Right.
But you are like dead on the inside. Wow. You are numb on the inside. You don't love yourself. You actually hate yourself. That was really hard to admit.
Yeah.
But once I started telling the truth, I put this little Post-it note on my mirror in my bathroom, and it just said, I love Erin. And every day I would look at it, and I knew that if I would just look at it and I would force myself to say it out loud, to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself, I love you.
Yeah.
Even when I didn't, because I knew that eventually I would believe it. And eventually I did believe. I still have that note in my bathroom.
Hey, keep it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because I have to remind myself over and over again that I love myself, and I need to treat myself like I love myself.
Yep.
And it became about a daily habit instead of if I look like this, then I'll be happy. It was, what can I do to love myself? And I love lifting weights, right?
Yeah,
I'm not going to be a marathon runner. I don't like that. I'm not going to be a mountain climber. I like hiking, but I'm not going to summit peaks of mountains.
Right.
That's not my thing, you know? But lifting weights, I love. I found this passion about it. And so that was for me.
Yeah.
And I just do it every day. I love doing it. I hate it when I miss it. And what's interesting is all those people that I said, if I could look like this, if I could weigh that, if I could be that, I blew that out of the water.
Yeah, exactly.
My body has transformed beyond what I ever thought was possible for me.
Yeah, it's funny when you put it all together, you know what I mean, how it all comes together. I always say that, you know, this whole journey is almost like map reading, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, a map's not perfect, protractor's not perfect, your pencil's not perfect, you're not perfect, the terrain's not perfect, nothing is perfect. But if you put it all together, you put all these things together, and even the way you feel, the way you think, and your mindset, the way you talk to yourself, everything, when you put it all together, it's amazing what you can do to your body, with your body, you know, things can change. I was thinking about that one day I took some video of you out there working out, and we were looking at your arms and your back or your shoulders or something. And then it was like a couple weeks later, and we looked at it and it was like, whoa, you had changed. Yeah. Like in 2 weeks, you changed so much. I mean, it was like, man, it's happening fast. And that's when I knew you had your stuff together. You were in the zone. You had your stuff together, and things were coming together for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it's like incredible.
Well, and I think part of it is having your stuff together is like admitting that you're never going to have it all together. Right. Right?
Yes.
That you don't have to be perfect.
There it is.
It's owning the truth.
Yes.
Is really what having things together, because I think people see my social media is very positive and uplifting, and I'm like, if you like motivational quotes, this is where it's at. You do that too.
I've done the same thing,
right? Like draw people in with this positivity and this energy. But I still have really hard days, and because I'll show up some mornings and I cry through my workout because
and ain't nothing wrong with that. But I mean, that's me. I mean, those motivational quotes I put up are, I mean, although I do them and they're definitely for people to see and, for people to get something from, but I get something from them too, you know what I mean? It's, sometimes it's the way I'm feeling. In fact, what I usually do is I'll collect like every week, either the Sunday night or Monday morning, I'll collect a bunch of them, for the week. Yeah. And then each day I put up how I'm feeling. I put up one for how I'm feeling that day.
True.
You know what I mean? and it's funny because people respond to me. Yeah. Oh, this quote resonated with me today. Yeah. Thank you, Kenny. I was feeling this one today, and I was like,
and that's cool. What it is. Good. It's like if you want to know where I'm at, the positive affirmation, the motivational quote that I'm putting up is what I'm struggling with at the moment.
Yes.
And it's an important point to make though, because social media has really messed with people's heads because you look at it and you think that this picture of perfection is how people are really living. Right. But usually what they're posting out there is the area that they're struggling with the most. Yes. And if you can switch your perception and realize, oh, this person's talking about like eating really clean this week. If you follow fitness people, they've probably eaten like crap the week before.
Exactly.
And so this is how they're motivating themselves. And we think, gosh,
Yeah.
they have it all figured out. They're all perfect, when really they're trying to keep them. That's how they hold themselves accountable.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I think too, the other thing that people get stuck on when it comes to fitness and health overall is that they set fitness and health goals, and they focus on only that.
Yeah.
Only the gym, and they pick things that maybe they don't really want to do, but they feel like they should do.
Right.
But so much of it starts with the self-love and the mental up here. You have to get that part of it right, or you're not going to be able to sustain the long-term lifestyle change.
Well, I tell people that all the time. When you look at, like, they had the shows before, you know, some of the shows, the reality shows on television, where people go through a big weight loss change or whatever, but those people always wind up gaining it back. If you look at it over the years, you can find out about it. You can read about it. It's public knowledge. But those people always wind up gaining it back because they never fixed the problem.
Yeah.
They never fixed the problem. You know, weight loss, fat loss, any of that stuff can be easy if you're in the right situation, the right environment, and you got somebody telling you exactly what to eat, and somebody's training you, or they're working with you, and so on and so forth. But when you get back in your regular habitat, in your environment, and you got to deal with your wife and your husband and your kids and work and this and that, and you haven't fixed the problem, which could be emotional, could be mental, or whatever. If you haven't fixed the problem, it's coming back.
Yeah.
It's coming back because all of that is toxic. You know what I mean? That's the toxic part. So it's gonna come back to
well,
you.
and I think people think they can go and fix it one time and then they're done.
No way.
And emotional health, you have your physical health, you have your emotional health, your spiritual, your financial health, all these different areas of your life that you have to pay attention to.
Right.
Your emotional health, you have to put as much into that as you do to maintain a physical body the way that you want. So for me, I talk a lot about breath work is one of the things that I have found passion doing.
Yeah.
You'll hear a lot about meditation and taking time. And meditation for me, I hike a lot, especially when it's warmer.
Right.
It's meditation. That's what, because I'll come here and I'll lift weights in the morning, and then you'll find me on the mountain in the afternoon on my little hikes because I'm in nature and my feet are hitting earth, and it's meditation time for me to let my mind wander.
Yeah, like seeing your pictures and stuff on.
Definitely.
on your social
That's
media.
what that is.
That's
that's my
cool.
mental health stuff, and I have a therapist, and I talk to people, and I focus on making sure that I have ways to deal with anxiety, to deal with stress, to deal with emotion, just that comes up. Women and men, our body will release different chemicals at different times that cause feelings, that cause emotion.
Yeah.
And it's very real, and you have to address it and deal with it. What doesn't work is to just throw your hands up in the air and say, nothing works for me.
Right.
You'll hear that a lot. I've tried everything. I work so hard, and it doesn't work. And here's a lie that people tell themselves. I used to tell myself this for years. I'm trying everything. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me. Well, guess what? I was not trying everything. Right. I wasn't doing things the right way. I wasn't being true and authentic to myself. I was trying to do what someone else did to make them happy instead of doing what would make me happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I think too, like we've talked about, you're a coach. I have a lot of coaches in my life. I consider you one of my coaches. And I also coach people as a part of what I do.
Exactly.
Asking for help when you don't know what to do is critical.
It's very critical.
Critical
Yes.
to personal development and growth in any area of your life. The more that you invest in yourself, the higher the return will be.
Exactly.
Just like the more you invest in the stock market or the housing market, the more you put into it, the higher your returns will be. The thing that's different is that when you're investing in yourself, you cannot lose. There's risk in the stock market. There's risk in the real estate market.
I was going to say that.
When you turn it to
yourself,
there's zero risk.
No risk.
You win every single time.
And the bigger return.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zero risk.
People are afraid to spend money on themselves, but we do it. We buy clothing, beauty products, but to invest in yourself emotionally and just to get your mindset right, that is a game changer to get your head telling yourself the messages that you need to hear that will put you in the direction you want to go.
But isn't that funny how that that pertains to so much in your life? Because I tell people this, we buy these cars or these nice houses and this and that, and let's say you get yourself a fancy car, so you invest all this crazy money into a fancy car, then you want to make sure when you get the oil change, you get the best oils. Give me the synthetic oil and this and that. Give me the high octane gas. I mean, they take care of the car and give me car washes every week and so on and so forth. But then this vehicle that we drive around, which we call our body, look at the stuff that we do to it.
Yeah.
Look at the fuel that we put in this thing. You know what I mean? We got McDonald's and, this fast food joint and that fast food joint. Sodas,
is a huge one.
All the sugar, all of these things that we put in this vehicle, we don't take care of it. We're not, people aren't working out. They're not training. They're not taking care of themselves. They're just sitting on the couch, It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle, and it's something that you need to invest in, like you invest in the other things,
There was a period of time consistently, years, where I was addicted to diet soda. I was addicted to Diet Coke, and in order to not be addicted to Diet Coke, I started drinking Diet Dr. Pepper. And then I got addicted to Diet Dr. Pepper, But there were days, there was probably years where the best part of my day sometimes, because I was so dead inside emotionally. I had buried it all. I just didn't want to feel the hurt. I didn't want to feel the pain. I didn't want to address it. The best part of my day sometimes was going through the Swig drive-thru to get my 44-ounce diet soda and a cookie, because that hitting my tongue, like going into my mouth, it felt good. It felt so good.
Yeah.
There was a day where I thought that I literally could not live without diet soda. I loved it so. I loved the diet soda and the cookies more than I loved myself.
Wow.
I really did.
That is crazy.
It felt better to me, but I didn't know what to do to take care of myself.
Yeah.
I never had an example of that where I could figure it out. I never been close enough to someone doing it that I could watch what they were doing and do it. I just got to a point where I wanted to figure it out myself.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you figure that out? How did you, did you go somewhere? Did you see someone?
Well, I was a therapist that I was seeing, and through a series of different conversations in January. So I had started your at-home workout program.
Right.
So I was already on this transformation journey. I went through the most difficult period of my entire life.
Right.
My husband and I went through a divorce, and it was traumatic, very traumatic emotionally. And so I was kind of at this point where all these truths were coming out, because I was facing why I was numb and why I was dead inside. I was being honest about it for the first time, because I had a great life. From the outside looking in, you would say, what did you have to be unhappy about?
Right.
And I would tell myself that a lot. Erin, your life is really good. I can remember telling this therapist, people have cancer, people lose family members, people go through so much harder stuff than me. I feel bad complaining about the things that are making me unhappy.
Right.
And I remember her telling me, like, being lonely, being emotionally lonely is one of the hardest struggles you will ever go through, because when people die, when people get sick, people gather around them.
Right.
They have support, they have people, but when you're emotionally lonely, it is one of the most difficult trials that people go through, to feel like they have, I would feel like I have this great circle of friends and great people, and even my ex-husband is a wonderful person who I care about and love. You know him. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. But I was, and I don't want to get into that part too much, but I wasn't being honest about how I felt is the point of that. And once I started being honest about that, it opened doors. So I started doing the at-home fitness because I was embarrassed to come to the gym. I think I was like between 220 and 230 pounds at that time.
Oh, wow.
And I had not worked out. And so coming to a gym when you're overweight and you feel insecure about your body and you don't even know how to use the equipment or do the exercises, I would be YouTubing the exercises because I was embarrassed to ask how to do the exercises. And now, of course, I'm the one that's like, don't be embarrassed. I'll show you. I'll help you. It's fine. I've been there before. But you don't know that when you're the heavy person coming into the gym. So I just started at home. And then I knew I was going to go through the at home. And when I was confident and comfortable enough that I knew what I was doing, I was going to show up here. And I showed up here in January of 2021.
Yeah.
And the only time I think I've missed 2 days where I was in town. Other than that, I'm out of town.
Right.
And I look up the workout online. I make sure my my hotel has a gym, and I do it when I'm traveling.
Oh, good. Yeah, I remember you put out a post, was it on Facebook or something?
Probably Instagram.
Or Instagram, yeah. You put out a post, and man, I loved that. You were telling me about your journey. You know, I mean, what you and Mark have been doing at home. You know, you did the online boot camp and stuff, and just like that. I mean, people started buying that online boot camp.
Oh, that's right. I put it on the Facebook, the Lehigh City page on Facebook.
What it was.
I was like, people don't know about this, but that is what started my transformation, and it was free.
Yeah.
You put it out there for free for people, and it was like a Word document, and it said day 1. Here's the exercises. Day 2, and you have videos online. We would look up your videos. Day 3, here's the exercises, and it was that simple and that that's what's so frustrating is I'm like, it is so simple and so easy to change your life.
Yeah, I tell people this all the time. This is the easy part. I mean, it really is easy. It's really simple. The hard part is getting in that right state of mind to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then doing it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, there's so much information out there. And, I try and put it out there. I mean, I put out workouts every day for people to see. And I mean, and there are people, you know, here on the back east, you know, friends that I have back east, and just all over the place that follow that. So I'm glad that you still do too. You know what I mean? When you're out of town and stuff like that, it's out there, you know. But there's so much information out there. People just need to.
Well, you need to find you need to find someone who can, like, for me, I love that I don't have to plan it. Right. I show up and you're tracking my muscle groups and you're telling me this is exactly what you do. All you have to do is show up, right?
Right.
And then the other thing that I love saying is, like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know how to do those workouts. I didn't have the information. Was the information out there? In a million different places on the internet.
Yeah.
You could find a fitness program, and there's probably 500,000 that are free.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's not that the information is out there. It's not that you can't do it or it's not accessible. It's that you're telling yourself you can't do it.
Right. Exactly.
And whatever you tell yourself is your reality.
So you got to be careful what you tell yourself.
You have to be so careful.
Have to be very careful what you tell yourself.
Yeah.
Gosh. Man, that's I always tell people that about listening to your naysayers or not listening to your naysayers. You know what I mean? Because they can, they can destroy a dream just like that. They can destroy that really quick. But one of your biggest naysayers is yourself.
Oh, you are, for sure.
So you have to be careful what you say to yourself because you can talk yourself out of doing things that, you know, you could probably do and be could do it very well, maybe, you know. So,
well, if you change the story that you tell yourself, you can change your life.
There you go.
It is 100%. So if you have negativity in your head all the time and you don't know how to stop, literally buy a little Post-it note, stack of Post-it notes, and a pen you like writing with, and write it down. Change your story. If you tell yourself, like, I'm so fat and I'll never look good, that's, of course, you're going to stay that way. That's what you're telling yourself every day. So start with, like, I love Erin.
Yes.
I love taking care of my body. She deserves to be taken care of. That's what I want for her. Exactly. You know, that's what I want for myself. I love going to this gym. I love hiking. I love running. I love walking. I love swimming. It makes me feel really good. My body is beautiful, whether I'm this, that, or the other. And she deserves that care and that respect. If you don't believe that yourself, just write it down and stare at it over and over and over until you do.
All the time, write it down.
Yes.
Write it down. Put it on paper. That way, one, it's not in your head all the time, but you can. It's like affirmation. You can go back and read it, and write it down. But not only, things like that, but write down your goals, write down your dreams, write down things you want to achieve, write down things you want, write those things down, and then, go back and look at them, and you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed when you go back and look at them. You'll see that you're either have already achieved them, or you're on track.
Absolutely.
To achieve them. It's amazing.
Every single person is born into a family where they're conditioned. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
Everyone is conditioned to what their parents were conditioned and what their parents were conditioned.
Yes.
And it's up to each of us to write our own story.
Exactly.
Right? The life that I'm living right now is very different than the life that I think people who are important to me, that raised me, like my family unit, envisioned for me.
Yes.
But they also see that I'm the happiest that I've ever been. Yes. It's not what they would have said. If they could have written my story, they would have written a very different story.
Right.
And I was living that for a long time, right? And I wasn't, I was fine. I was happy. It was good enough or whatever. But where I'm at right now, I'm the happiest I've ever been. And I feel this joy and this light and this, like it doesn't matter what happens around me.
Right.
You can't take my joy away.
And you can, what the thing is, that resonates with you. You can see it too. I see it when you're in here. There's a certain aura around you. You know what I mean? Where you just there's confidence, and it's like, this lady knows what she wants. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
You can see it. You can see it. You can feel it. So
and sometimes great. I don't always know exactly what I want.
Yeah.
But I know that I can have anything that I want. That maybe I can achieve anything that I want. That I know that I have a purpose.
Yep.
I know that this life means something.
Yep.
And that I'm on this path of surrender where, like for me, it's God, what source of truth, light, whatever you can call that, whatever you want. For me, I name it God.
Exactly.
I know that I'm here for a specific reason. I used to compare myself physically to other women all the time. I didn't like my nose. And I've learned now that women beat themselves up so bad, and when I was younger, I went and read all my journals from high school and college about a year and a half ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, this poor girl, her worth was based on the attention of a man, or if she felt like she was as beautiful, or she, if she could run as far, or all these dumb things that didn't really mean anything. What I realize now is that God designed me physically, spiritually, my personality, my strengths with my personality. I have weaknesses and flaws that other people shine in. Right? And we want to have everything, but that's not we're not here to be this perfect, amazing person. We're here to take our strengths and complement each other to create this beauty on the earth. And so I realize now that how I look physically and what my spirit is internally, that those two things complement each other.
Exactly.
To be exactly who he needs me to be, to accomplish exactly what I came here to accomplish. And that is the source of my joy.
Well, you are one of God's masterpieces. We all are. Yes.
Where David Archuleta has this song, I don't even know what it's called, but he talks about a symphony where each one plays a part and we all work together to create this symphony. And it's this beautiful imagery of how, you and I are very different.
Right.
But we are good friends. And we have these conversations where we grow from each other's perspectives. And it is about giving to everyone else without expecting in return and creating this beautiful symphony. But you cannot give to the level you were designed to give. You cannot serve and help to the level you were designed to serve and help if you don't turn it inward first.
There you go. Exactly. It's like Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart.
Yeah, right?
It's crazy. They make a good...
they make a great team.
A great team,
yeah.
They make a great team, you know, coming from different walks of life and everything else. But, I think they're both so... they know who they are.
Yeah.
and know who
Absolutely.
they are.
And you
know
look
what I
at
mean?
even Martha Stewart's story. She spent some time in prison.
Yes, yeah.
Right? And you can almost see, I don't know, I'm sure if she probably has a book, I should read it, but about her life before and her life after. That is a woman who went through incredibly difficult stuff and came out the other side and knew who she was, what her goal. She did not let that take her down.
Exactly.
She had to get to a point where she didn't care what people said about her or what people thought of her. She knew her purpose, she knew her strengths, and she knew what she loved and what she was passionate about. And she continued on with her life and didn't let it define her. And there are so many people that had a rough childhood. That went through hell as children, that had rough early 20s, went through relationships or illnesses or injury or setback that we're all trying to overcome. And I think the important thing is that people hear the truth, that you can overcome it.
Yes.
And nobody else can do it for you, but you can do it.
Yep.
So if anyone's been stuck for a long time, and you'll know if you were stuck for a long time, because as I say that, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
It will resonate with you, right? If any of this resonates with you, then you've experienced some of the same things that I have. Don't lie to yourself one day more.
Yeah.
Admit the truth, and part of that truth is that you can change. You can have more. You can have anything you want to in this life if you will just believe that it is possible for you. It is possible for you.
Yes.
And if people have told you your whole life that it's not possible for you, let me and Kenny be the ones today to tell you.
Those are your naysayers.
Stop listening to the lies. Shut it out. You can have anything you want to in this life if you will just believe that it's possible for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that message. I love that message. It's so true, though. It's the truth. Wow.
It is true.
Well, maybe we should leave them with that.
Okay.
Wow, thank you, Erin. I appreciate
so
you coming on the
welcome.
podcast.
Absolutely.
Man, I loved your message. You got a beautiful message. You got a beautiful story, though. I love your story. I love when you came out and spoke with me that one time.
Yeah.
It was to hear your story is amazing, and keep being an inspiration to us all. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. You're an inspiration to a lot of people too. You're critical in this journey for me. You're one of the key pieces of my journey.
Well, that's good.
Because you do that too. You just kind of live in your light and you share your light with everyone around, and they feel it, and there's no ego about you or nothing in it for you. You are about serving and helping people. That's a good place for people to start if they're stuck. Talk to Kenny, because he coaches people and he will help you get unstuck,
And Erin's a coach too, so talk to Karen. Karen, talk to Erin.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we'll holler at y'all later. I hope you got something from this, and we'll see you when we see you.